Okay, here we go. Another episode of Bridge Business, man. It's the most talked about in the game right now with Big Horse and myself. Big Horse, what up?
What's up? What's up? Welcome to Bridge Business, Thungy.
Okay, man, we got the champ with us right now, man. Light heavyweight champion in multiple divisions. I watched this man career from the beginning, from his first fight. I've always been fascinated by his vernacular. The man could be a poet. I'm surprised he's not an MC. The one and only Antonio Magic Man Tarver. Hey, welcome to Bridge Business.
Thanks for having me, Sway. Thank you, Horse.
Hey.
Appreciate it, guys.
Hey, man. Oh, it's all love, man. First and foremost, thank you for joining us.
Yes.
I watch you a lot. I like to watch the interviews you do. Hey, but before we get into boxing, man, I just thought about it, dude. Your vernacular is really dope, man. I don't know anybody in Black America that didn't grow up at least wrote at least one rap in their life, man. You never tried rapping?
You know what, Sway? It's crazy, man. When I write, I rhyme. But I can't put a rap together to save my life, man.
Hey, you actually tried? Did you ever try?
I never really tried, but I always found, if you look on even my comments on my social media, for some reason they always rhyme, but I never really sat down and say, let me put the pen to the paper and see what I can do.
You be shocked. You might be shocked.
I might be.
Hey, Antonio, you know Big Horse was on the Uchiwali track with Nas, man, the Uchiwali joint. So
that was dope. I didn't know that. That. That was dope. That was a hell of a track right there.
Thank you. Salute. Thank you.
Yeah, congrats.
Hey, you might have to take him in the studio.
Hey, man, he got words, so I know he got bars. Put the words together, we can make some magic, right?
That's it. It's all about that magic, baby. You know that.
Hey, so I want to jump into this, man. I just want to talk to you for no reason in particular, but every reason under the sun. You know what I mean? And
right.
One of the things I like to hear about is people beginnings. You know, you came up in Florida?
Florida, yeah, Orlando, Florida. That's why I'm the Magic Man from the Magic City, baby. You know what I mean? We had Shaquille O'Neal doing his thing back then, Penny Hardaway. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was born and raised Orlando. So, you know, that was just a second thought for me to be the Magic Man because I had planned on making them all disappear. And I think I did that.
I was always wondering where you got that name Magic Man from. I'm glad you cleared that up real fast. I thought it was so with your hands. Like, you be like, man, you don't, one time you see it, then you don't.
That too.
Hey, did you used to fight when you were growing up? Like, I'm trying to find out what made you get into boxing as opposed to any other sport, because you're a really tall dude. So you could have went into basketball, football, whatever it was. Were you fighting on the streets growing up, or you started in the gym?
Most definitely. I mean, I used to go to this Boys and Girls Club, and the Boys and Girls Club will house all of the local neighborhoods, you know? So I had my little clique. A lot of people had their little clique, but that's how I really got into boxing because I couldn't stay out of trouble at the Boys and Girls Club. They say, man, you got to do something with this energy. Next time you get in a fight, we're going to put you on these gloves. Nobody told me you can hit to the body, so I'm covering up my head, and this joker went down low on me, man. I never forget that punch, but that's when it started. And I got up, and that was the thing. I got up, and I didn't quit. But they knew early on that I had a gift. I knew early on I had a gift. But sometimes life takes you on these meandering roads. And I had to go on that meandering road until I saw Roy Jones one day sitting in the living room, man, in the 1988 Olympics. And he got robbed for the gold medal. And that light bulb went off, and it never went out. You know, I remember running 3 miles that day, and I never looked back.
That's crazy, right, Horse?
Hey, that's crazy because you know why? Because ever since you got knocked out by that body shot, it seemed like you learned from that because you ain't never went down since.
Yeah, well, you know, I had a couple flash knockdowns, but most of my knockdowns wasn't legitimate. My gloves never touched.
That's all I say.
No glove touching. They never touched.
Wait a minute, what do you mean?
Yeah, in the Hopkins fight, they say I got knocked down.
Yes, they got dropped.
Never touched. And in the Chad Dawson fight, they say I got knocked down, but the glove never touched. It's what the video showed. So
it tipped it a little bit, Magic Man. Come on now, hit a little bit. Come on now.
But you know what? I didn't complain about it because I couldn't change it no way. So you know what I mean?
Okay, all right. And so when I look at those fights, Bernard Hopkins, and Chad Dawson, you know, they're two totally different kind of fighters, man. You done fought the best, bro. Glenn Johnson, Chad Dawson, Roy Jones, all of these amazing names you done fought. I want to know from you, like, the difference in their styles coming from an expert, and then who gave you the most difficulty?
Okay. Well, these guys are all seasoned pros. You know, they know the game like the back of their hand. So you have to prepare differently. You know, everybody physically strong. But I think what separates fighters is what's between their ears. And I think that's why I'll always be the most underrated, because they never really dialed in on what made me a great fighter. You know what I mean? It was my ears. It wasn't what you saw on the tape, my reach, you know, height. It was none of that. It was my thinking prowess, how I dissected these guys, how I uploaded and downloaded all the information to the fighters I was facing. And I had enough heart to just lay it on the line. You know, when it came down to being tough, gritty, I don't think my tenacity was matched. It doesn't mean that I didn't have off nights, or, you know, maybe I didn't prepare like I should have, and it kind of brought the needle a little closer. But, you know, in those fights, and it's funny you mentioned Chad Dawson and Bernard Hopkins. Those are the only two guys I lost to in my whole entire career, you know. And if it all ended and I never step in the ring again, I mean, I had a hell of a career, man. And, you know, the rematches, I think, really gave me an opportunity to show the world who was the best fighter. And when you fight in a rematch, you got both fighters knowing what happened the first time. So they're going to put their best foot forward in the rematch. They always do. And then it's only one fight I didn't get a rematch for, and that was Bernard Hopkins. And to this day, that's a real bitter pill to swallow, because I believe on a good day, a day that I felt like the table was fair, I think, you know, that would have been a great fight. But I just say, when you look at common opponents, and that's how you can always dissect a fight, by common opponents, I just don't think Hopkins dominated me the way he did that night. I've never been outclassed in a boxing match, rather amateur or pro. And for some reason that night I was outclassed. Just don't happen in boxing. It don't, man. So, you know.
Hey, Magic Man, when you fought Hopkins, I felt he was the only person that actually had a strategy against you. So he punched and grabbed. And I felt that he kept doing that the whole fight. And it was something that you really couldn't adjust to. It's something that you was trying to use your reach, but he stayed in so close that you really couldn't use your reach as far as with your jab. But I felt that he really frustrated you by holding you and then doing them little sneaky punches, being the ring veteran that he was. So I felt that was probably the hardest fight you really had to adjust. And especially, you know, coming back from Balboa, getting that big check, your head probably wasn't really in the fight with B-Hop.
I mean, we can say that, but, you know, in boxing, you know, it's a lot of times things that are going on that you have no idea about. You know what I mean? I mean, it's still the only sport that's not regulated. You feel me? We don't have nothing set up for us. It's not it's not like basketball, football, baseball. There's no guarantees. You understand? If you lose, you go back to the end of the line. And, you know, the people that are controlling these fighters or managing these fighters and promoting these fighters, they got everything to lose. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I know what I did to the game when I knocked Roy Jones out. I turned the game up on its axis. I turned it over, flipped it over. But when you look back at it, Roy Jones beat me in the ring to make millions of dollars when I knocked him out. I had to sit ringside and watch him fight Glenn Johnson. You feel me? You know, there was no call for that. In fact, I think you have to blame the commission, because Roy Jones didn't even get a 90-day suspension. When you get knocked out, they sit you down for 90 days or more. But that didn't happen. And I think that contributed more to Roy Jones getting knocked out the second time. He didn't let his body rest. He didn't recover. You feel me? The man beat me back in the ring. He was 2 months and a half out from getting knocked out by me. He was in the ring fighting Glenn Johnson.
Hey, Magic Man, so you think that's because he promoted his own fights at that time? Because he had Body Head Entertainment at that time and he promoted his own fights?
You know what? I shook the game up so much, they just didn't want to go in another direction. They didn't have no plan for Antonio Tarver. But they had dates for Roy Jones Jr. So when I knocked Roy Jones Jr. out, he didn't lose none of his dates. He kept his dates. That's why he was able to fill that slot with Glenn Johnson. He was actually trying to win the title to come back to the negotiating table to try to dominate me again. But it didn't work out that way. So, you know, that's what it was. It was all about going to get that title that was out there, trying to avoid facing me again.
Magic Man, in the state of Florida, I got to bring this up. In the state of Florida, is this just you and Roy? It seemed like it was like you wanted to be the king of Florida, he wanted to be the king of Florida. So to be the king of Florida, they had to fight each other. It seemed like y'all had this outside of, you know, beef that went on for, you know, behind the scenes for years. Is that true?
Somewhat, but it wasn't really behind the scenes. You know, Roy Jones and I fought as amateurs here in Florida at the Sunshine State Games in '82. We were 13 years old. 13. So, you know, he beat me by a close decision. And I'll never forget that fight, because when I saw him in the Seoul Career Games in '88, I knew that I was on the same level with Roy. I knew that in my heart, that because of that first fight that we had at 13, I knew that I had the ability, the skills, and everything it took. You see what I'm saying? Because when I saw him in Seoul Career, that solidified it. And when I made it up in my mind that I was going to get that gold medal that eluded him in Seoul Career, that was it. I knew where I was going. And then it was only right before '95, Roy moved up to light heavyweight. So I'm like, well, I'm 178 pounds. I'm not going up. I'm going down to 175. And I say, it's a chance he could be in my way. It's a chance he could be there when I get there. And I got 11 other fighters that can tell you, you can ask any of my Olympic teammates, and this was in '96. See, when you can't force people to see through your eyes. You can't force nobody to see through your eyes. And they just couldn't see what I saw. And I wasn't trying to convince nobody, because it wasn't my position to do that. I just wanted to step in that ring and show everybody what it was. And I think I did that the first time. I definitely did that the second time, and I did that the third time. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not saying Roy Jones wasn't all those things that everybody made him out to be. He was that. He just couldn't beat me. He just couldn't beat me, man. And that was just the bottom line.
When I hear you talk, Antonio, it makes me think of, and you could correct me if my context is wrong, but when I look at a boxer like you, who is a top-tier elite boxer fighting other top-tier elite boxers, but not getting the same opportunities as some of the other boxers, it reminds me of the music business, because you got a lot of dope artists, a lot of great artists who got great skills, but they don't have the best team. And so they're struggling just to make ends meet while you're seeing all these, just this elite group of people making all the money. What is it like for a boxer who has those skills but doesn't have that team year after year after year trying to get that fight and get that bag? Like, what is that like?
Man, I had that team. You understand me? I had that team, man. Al Heyman was my manager early on in my career, bro. I had that team. Vernon Forrest, God bless the dead.
God bless the dead.
Good friend. Yeah. You understand me? And because of that relationship that me and Vernon had, I kind of went in that direction. And then you saw, after I knocked Roy Jones out, everybody wanted to come to us. You see what I'm saying? Everybody say they don't know what Al Heyman looked like, right? He's a mystery, and he the ghost. Well, go look at any one of my fights. He's right there, second row, left of the camera, center, bright skin got with a beard. That's Al Heyman. You see him at my fights ringside, because we had that type of relationship. I don't know what happened, Sway. I told a man I wanted to win I was gonna win the heavyweight title, and everything stopped, bro.
When you say, what do you mean it stopped? He stopped working? You guys stopped working together, or?
The relationship stopped. The relationship died for whatever reason, you know. And I couldn't get no work. I couldn't get no action. It seemed like to me everybody in the boxing business blocked me, because everybody know I ain't have no problem fighting. But when you put a man in that ring, you ain't got no control, Sway. You see what I'm saying? You can't control the outcome. And they know when they put me in that ring, it's a chance that outcome gonna be flipped. So I was too dangerous. And I'm 52 years old now, and you don't see nothing. They won't call my name today, Sway.
Damn.
So I didn't get a chance to prove my greatness. Totally. Totally. I didn't get a chance or opportunity to prove my greatness. When I knocked out Jonathan Banks, I should have got a heavyweight title shot, bruh. But man, it was like, nobody could see my vision. They saw my vision, but they didn't want me to achieve my vision. Because if I win the heavyweight title, Sway, there's no more doubts. You feel me? There's no more doubts. I prove everything I want to prove. That I'm one of the best fighters ever stepped in the ring, bruh. From amateur to pro.
Yeah.
But I'll never get my flowers until I'm dead and gone. They not gonna give me my flowers, bruh. And it's cool. I'm cool with that. But the people know. The real ones know.
Ooh. So that's why so since Al Heyman wasn't promoting your fights, I felt like you started going really hard. You started calling yourself the people champs. The people know what they want. The people started doing that. And I felt like is that a piece of page that you took from Ali? Like you had to start talking to the cameras so you start getting these fights?
Man, you know what, man? I was one of those fighters before my time. And I can truly say I was before my time because if we had social media back then, bruh, come on, man. They wasn't doing it like that. They wasn't doing it like that since Ali. And I just think I always had that knack for that. I don't even know what you call it. The just confidence to the point where I could express myself verbally, and let everybody really truly understand where I'm coming from. You see what I'm saying? All you got to do is hear it with clear ears. You can understand where I'm coming from. But I called out Wilder when he was up there. I called out Klitschko. But see, when I call out folks, I don't get no feedback. You see what I'm saying? There's no feedback. Then I see other people calling out folks, and the fight made. I mean, it's an easy fight. It's an easy fight to be made when both fighters want to face each other. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. But for some reason, I was always too big of a risk. How can you say that in boxing? I was always too big of a risk. What kind of shit that don't even make sense.
Yeah, but it kind of do though. Like if you don't want to lose, you know what I mean?
Hey, get out the way then. Get out the way then. You see what I'm saying?
I'm like, I'm not fighting him. I just got the time. You talk about Vernon. Let's talk about Vernon Forrest, right? Who amazing. God bless him. I got a chance to meet him. He was one of my favorite fighters. Did he fight welterweight or he fought
welterweight champion? Yes, sir. He
welterweight.
Mosley.
Shane Mosley, right when Shane got the title. That was his first defense. And Vernon took the title from him. Vernon looked, kind of unbeatable to me. He's the type of fighter.
6'1".
6'1". You know what I mean? If they say you want to match up against Vernon Forrest, he don't have the biggest name, but he got the biggest respect. Yes. I might not match up with him. I might want to ride this out. We see Ryan Garcia rushing to fight Gervonta Davis. He wants to jump right in with Gervonta. You think that's why?
He wants to jump in with Gervonta, but he signed a contract to be the mandatory challenger for Devin Haney. So he knew what he was getting into, bruh. This was well thought out. So if he's running or ducking Devin Haney and feels like he has a better chance to face Gervonta Davis, or maybe it's a money thing, I don't know. But I would have never fought that mandatory because it positioned him for the number one contender in Devin Haney's belt, Devin Haney's belt. So now it looks like Ryan Garcia is running from Devin Haney.
Mm-hmm. Can we talk
That's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, let's talk about Devin Haney, and I'm gonna come back to you because I think your story is so fascinating. So I can't wait for the movie and the book.
It's coming, brother.
I already know. That's the prelude to where we gonna go. Exactly. But let's talk about Devin Haney. Like he's another one, right, Horst? Devin's from my hometown. I've known Devin Haney for years. I watched the whole rise and the cut, watched him come up, and they try to dismiss him. Teofimo kind of dismissed him on this show, by the way, BridgeBizness. Wow. Try to make it like he's not a legitimate champion. Garcia, huh? What'd you say?
He didn't fight for it. They just gave him the belt. He didn't have to fight for it.
But to me, I think I think it might be a fear factor with Devin Haney, similar to the way it was one with you. You know what I mean? Devin doesn't have the biggest marquee name just yet, but he one fight away from it.
Yes.
That's it.
You right?
That's
Do you see parallels with y'all careers in that way?
Yeah, I think Devin's going to have to be a little bit more vocal.
Okay.
He's going to have to be a little bit more vocal. He's a champion. And so he got to go out there and you're going to have to stick your chest out sometimes. Just don't sit back and let these guys do what they want to do. He's already commissioned the WBC to mandate the fight. Mm-hmm. So I just saw that the other day. Devin Haney wants to fight. He wants the big names. But they got every reason to be nervous or even concerned because you see the guy's potential. You see his talent. But I don't think he's scratched the surface yet of how good he's going to really be. He's still young. He's still super young right now, being the youngest champion right now to hold a belt. He's still got a lot of maturing to do. And once he settle down and get that man strength, he's going to be a tough puzzle for any of those guys to solve. And if you ask me, they better get him now.
Yeah.
They better get him now because once he get that seasoning on him, it's going to be too late. And I want to say that, man, I believe right now wholeheartedly, if Roy Jones would have fought me when we should have fought, he probably could have won a decision. And they give him the decision, you never hear from me again. You know what I mean? But because he was doing a lot of running, it took 2 years for me to get him in the ring. He moving up the heavyweight running. You feel me? The truth be told.
Yep.
And, I won the titles from Montel Griffin. So when I went that first fight, people failed to realize that I was a unified champion when I stepped in that ring. And ain't no way in the hell Roy Jones took my title. So that's neither here nor there. That's water under the bridge. I think the rematch determined everything. What's your excuse tonight? Ooh. Because losing weight has never been a boxer's excuse. Because we lose weight all the time. That's a part of the sport. And Roy has never been bigger than me. So if he lost 25, I lost 35. You see what I'm saying? So but I can't change nobody's minds. It's a built-in narrative. And if it makes them feel better, so be it.
That probably had to be one of the greatest moments in boxing I ever seen in my life. Any excuses tonight, Roy? I ain't never seen a boxer yet say anything to the ref that say any questions. And you was the first boxer I ever say, hey, Roy, any excuses tonight? And you know what it was? You was focused. Because the first time you got robbed with that majority decision. You know you got robbed because I saw you outbeat him. You was so focused. You was bouncing up. You were waiting for the bell to ring. You was bouncing up and down. What's up, Roy? Let's go. You got any excuses? That's why you came out in that second round. That lazy left. Woo-wee. Put him down. And I felt
it was a lot. See, when you fight so hard, man, for those belts, and you feel like they did an injustice by taking it, man. Like, come on. I can accept the loss. I know when I lose. You feel me? I'm a man about it. Hey, I got to get back to the drawing board. But when something is blatantly taken from you, man, I was heartbroken. And I swear to God, I've never trained so hard in my life. You can ask Matt Kellerman. You can ask Harold Letterman. You can ask anybody that interviewed me leading up to that fight. I say, I'm going to take it out of the judge's hand. All they're going to be able to say is they had the best seat in the house because I knew I couldn't go to decision. I knew I couldn't go to the decision. So it was one of those things, man, that it worked all right for me. It worked out for me. Because when I went back to the corner, it wasn't until Buddy McGirt lit that fire. He said, you giving him too much respect.
Yes.
He said, you giving him too much respect. And when he said that, I don't know if I was giving him too much respect or not, but I told Buddy, I said, Buddy, it ain't no respect in here. He said, well, go out and get yours. I came back, it was a wrap. You know what I mean? Where I went and got my respect. I don't think I got my respect because Roy Jones has never admitted defeat. To this day, he's in denial. And it's sad to see. He's never accepted the defeat.
Hey, listen, after that third fight that y'all had, he ain't have to accept it because if you'd have caught him before you went over that ropes with that right, man, you went for the roof with that right there. You tried to send him to the moon.
And you know what? I learned a lot from that fight. Before you fight a major fight, check the ropes. Check the ropes. It don't make it. Go in the ring, see how the ring is built. Check the ropes. Make sure they're not loose. Because I've never seen boxing ropes that loose before in my life. And when you look back at our fights, they always say, okay, Roy, you stuck on the ropes. But they gave the man all that leeway. I couldn't even land a good solid punch when I had him in the corner because he was leaning back so far. And I almost went over the ropes, but I had on them red bottoms. You saw the red bottoms there.
Oh, man, we got the magic man with us, Antonio Tarver.
Yeah.
Hey, man, let me talk to you about this part of the sport that I find interesting because I grew up running track, right? And in track and field, they got a lot of regulations on what you can consume, what you can utilize in your body, supplements, whatever, energy pills, whatever people are using. A lot of folks get caught for using steroids, all of that different stuff. We see this in boxing all the time. I remember even when Manny Pacquiao and Floyd, before they was setting up them first fights, and Floyd wanted them to get the blood tested, and Manny was like, I don't do that. You know, it's a religious thing, but it was because he had went up so many weight divisions and he sustained all that power. People were a little, questionable about what he was using. You tested positive for banned substances. Can you speak to that? What was that about? Was it something you was unaware of? Or what was that about?
Well, it's definitely going to come out in the book. You know what I mean? I will say this, I made a mistake the first time. I'm not going to say that I didn't, and I own up to my mistake. But because of that mistake, they threw a lot of bull crap on the wall and it stuck. You understand me? The second time around, it was no doubt that it was I can say it now. Everybody know how I feel about that. I never did anything. It was a frame job from the go, and that's how right now I'm still 6 years removed on a suspension list in New Jersey.
6 years?
6 years removed. Now you've seen Tyson Fury come back from cocaine abuse, and they call it mental health. You've seen Big Baby Davis, he's back. You've seen all these other guys renew their careers. I'm the only one that has been ostracized out the game. Only one. And it's okay with the world. It's okay with the sport. Because in boxing, we don't have that what you would call that team or organization. You don't have the union. You don't have, so they can get away with stuff like this, bro. And I suffered tremendously, bro. You feel me? It's been 6 years. I haven't commentated. I haven't fought. And this is the sport that I live. This is the sport that I've been in since I was 10 years old. I'm one of the best commentators in the world, but you don't see me working. You don't see me working. And even now, I'm one of the best trainers in the world. But you don't see these young guys coming to get this knowledge. I put it out there. Come on, man. You don't think I can help Wilder? You don't think I can help Wilder? Absolutely. And it's ridiculous that the people that he trusts to give him the best advice, they're not giving him the best advice. And so you say you want the best for that fighter, but you won't let a real teacher teach him how this shit go? It's ridiculous. It ain't about, I just think it's about me, bro. I just think, man, I don't know. I mean, look, I did every step. I went to the Olympics.
Yeah.
I was captain of the Olympic team. Bro, this don't supposed to happen to Olympians. You understand me? I was a decorated Olympian. In fact, I broke history. The same sport that Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, all the greats before me, I broke history. I was the only man to win the national championship, the Pan American Games, and the World Championships in the same year, 1995. I went into the Olympics favored to win gold because I had just beat my toughest opponent 4 months prior, who was Vasily Jirov.
Yeah.
I feel like I beat him in the Olympics. They just didn't score any of my punches. And so when we go back to the media room, I'm sitting there with my mom and my son. I'm by myself. Where my coaches at? Where my managers at for the Olympic team? No, they didn't support my loss. Nobody said nothing. And when I tried to make the transition to pro Sway, I didn't have a manager or promoter. I had to call an old friend of my late great trainer, Jimmy Williams, Brad Jacobs, who was working with USA Tuesday Night Fights, to give us an opportunity to fight on Tuesday Night Fights. And I did that unattached. And we did that through Russell Peltz, a local Philadelphia promoter that used to fight at the Blue Horizon. Because of that, I signed a 1-year deal with Russell Peltz. Okay? After that, year was up. We tried to renegotiate. It didn't happen. I signed with Star Boxing, Joe DeGuardia. I never had any of the big-time promoters or the big-time managers. Never. But I wasn't scared to talk. I wasn't scared to express myself. And that's what I believe got me to the, was able to kick the door in, because they had to hear me, man. And when I knocked out Eric Harding, okay, I won the mandatory challenger back after I lost to Eric Harding. Eric Harding was my toughest opponent, believe it or not, because he was a southpaw. He was a Philadelphia fighter that had all the ability, all the talent. When I first fought him, he had 6 knockouts out of 21 fights. I didn't think the guy could punch. And I learned a valuable lesson when I saw him on tape. I say, man, this guy can't compete with me. I was arrogant. I was overconfident. And that first fight was the toughest fight I ever had. I was winning the fight. It was real close. But in the 9th round, he hit me with a hook, a right hook, and shattered my jaw. My jaw was
broke your jaw.
Places.
Yeah.
And those 4 rounds, Sway, was the 4 round that I developed into a champion, because at any time I could have quit and it would have been justified from the pain I was feeling in my head and in my body. I felt like I got shot, bro. That's the only thing I can compare it to. Every time I bit down on my mouthpiece, it was crunching. I felt my teeth and everything crunching in my mouth, but I didn't quit. I didn't quit. I say, this joker ain't gonna knock me out. I don't care what I gotta do. He ain't gonna knock me out. And so when I lost that fight, I accepted defeat. I went back to the drawing board. HBO put me in a trick bag. They offered me the Eric Harding fight for $150,000. I've never seen that kind of money in my life. And it's going to be on the undercard of Shane Mosley and Vernon Forrest. I thought about that fight for 2 days. I say, man, if I can't beat Eric Harding, I don't deserve to be in the ring with Roy Jones. And I convinced myself of that. And you remember the first 3 rounds, he tore my butt up. I couldn't get past. Yeah.
He tagging you.
He was tagging me, tearing me up. But his trainer, his name, it eludes me right. Was it Galvin? Galvin was his trainer. He's a legendary fighter, legendary trainer up in the Jersey area. Well, he sent Eric at me. He say, he's ready to go, Eric. Don't back up. Knock him out. And he changed his plan. He changed his game plan. He was winning. All he had to do was stick to what he was doing. And so I needed him to get overly aggressive. And I set him up with a counter left. And that's all I needed was that little slight edge. So when he came in aggressive, I set him up, boom, straight left hit him. And the fight was basically over. But I had to beg the referee to stop the fight, if you remember.
Yeah.
They trying to get this guy a second win. I'm like, man, if you don't stop this fight, I know something.
He might go back to the old game plan, man. Stop the fight.
Hey, Magic Man.
Once I won that fight, I was ready. You see what I'm saying? You have to go through that in your career. If Floyd would have fought Canelo at a later date, that fight could have been different. He caught Canelo at the right time. And I said it months before he signed to fight Canelo. The boy's still green. He got a lot of ability, a lot of talent, but he hasn't found himself yet.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And a lot of these guys out here carrying belts that ain't even found himself yet. If you put them in a tough fight, you don't know if they can make it through or not. Right now today, because they haven't fought the type of competition that's going to bring it out of them. But trust me, if you stay in the game long enough, you're going to meet that match. You're going to meet your match. Trust me. I don't care who he is. And you can't bully your way through this game. Mike Tyson showed you that. Mike Tyson showed you can't bully your way through boxing.
That's right.
So you better get them techniques down. You better learn that scientific form, because that's what's going to keep you, that's what's going to give you longevity and defense. I tell any fighter, you only going to go as far as your chin take you. You saw Garcia got up from the mat.
He got up like a champ.
Hey,
I got new respect for him.
Yes, sir.
He got up like a champ.
The champ.
But he got tested. And right there, before he got up, he had to question himself. But he answered that question. Yeah, I'm made for this. I'm built for this. And then you go knock the same guy out in a few more rounds. Now he's developed. Ryan Garcia gonna be a tough out for any of those champions out there. I'm telling you.
Hey, speaking of trainers, how did you hook up with the great Brentwood legend, Buddy McGirt?
You know what? I had just lost my fight to Eric Harding, right? And something happened that I took to heart. The man, my father figure, my mentor, Jimmy Williams, Alba Williams, and maybe this was just me being oversensitive, but he flew home that night. My mom stayed, my significant other stayed, my daughter stayed. Everybody that cared about me, I thought, stayed to see me through that. But my trainer got on that plane and made it back to Tampa. And by the time I got back to Tampa, all I was hearing was why we lost. And it was all me. So, you know, I just think it was God moving me in another direction, you know, and one of my best friends, Nate Jones, who's been Mayweather's trainer since the amateur days. Nate Jones from Chicago was training with Buddy McGirt down in Vero Beach. And I joined him, and the rest is history. I joined Buddy McGirt down there. I would never forget. We was at Days Inn. We used to get rooms. I used to buy my rooms at Days Inn, had my little crock pot cooker right there, and I used to do all my cooking on my little hot plate. And we stayed in Days Inn, $50 a night, man. It was something like that. But it was like, that's how I started out. You know what I mean? And I had a bronze medal around my neck.
Ain't that something?
So I didn't get no love. So people need to understand, I earned everything that came to me. I earned it. Nobody gave me nothing. Nobody.
Man, we got the Magic Man here, man. I know you loving this horse. I know you loving it.
Because you know why? He's a champion, and I'd be wanting to know, is it harder to become the champion or to stay the champion? Is it harder to train to become it, or is it harder to stay it as far as the training purpose? I
think they're both. Well, you know, when you're the hunter, you know, you're going at that food, you're going at that meal. But when you get to the top of that mountaintop, you know, you're the hunted now. They coming at you. You know, everybody got your face on the heavy bag. I think it takes the same amount of focus. I think it takes, you know, the identical type of focus. It's going to take everything in you, you know, to win the title. And it's going to take everything in you to keep it.
When you became the champ, did you start taking days off? Was you training as hard as you was after you got the belt? Was you training harder?
You know what, to be honest with you, you know, we come from that era where, you know, I came from that era that, you know, we used to train for the fight, and then we take off into the next fight. Yeah. And I don't know why, I don't know where we got that from, but at that time, that was the culture that I came from. And Floyd Mayweather came from that same culture, but he was different. He was one of those type guys, that's why he's 50-0. You know what I mean? He was one of those type guys that never took off. Not even when he was out at the club until about 3, 4 in the morning, he'd go from the club, never drinking, never smoking, go straight to the gym. See, he had a type of commitment that was a little bit different than everyone else. And it wasn't until later in my career that I realized, man, I did myself a disservice. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I can look back and say that, you know, if you're serious about where you want to go and it's to the top, and if you have the ability and the talent, don't cheat yourself. And I'm not saying you got to go hard every day, but invest in your career, invest in yourself every day. I don't care if it's a meditation. I don't care if it's a prayer. Get some of that mental, that mindset. Get that mindset game going, because I think that's what's going to really prevail these young fighters. Everybody can fight. Everybody can box. Everybody's strong. Everybody know combination. But what separates us? It's what can't nobody see. It's what you're thinking. How are you calculating it? How are you seeing it? I think separates us. How you see yourself. See, my thing was, Sway, I never let nobody change my mind. Yeah. Nobody. I was stubborn in that way. You know, I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm glad I didn't. No matter, and I had brother-in-laws betting against me. Damn. You see what I'm saying? I had brother-in-laws betting against me because they couldn't believe what I saw. Okay, that's cool. You should have bet on black.
Should have put it all on black. What do you think that is, though, man? It's something about, like, you got a lot of, like, resistance to be loved. you know, by people. Like, you know, you always been, I could be mistaken, but I always saw you as the underdog saying, man, let me in. Let me eat. Why y'all not letting me eat?
Right, yeah.
And here you talk about your legacy, and it's always like, it's like you I don't think you have to explain who you are. Boxing, if you know boxing, we know. You telling me what we already know. But it seemed like if you're not a certain way, if you don't have a certain savoir-faire in this game, you won't get pushed forward. People got to like you. People got to really like you in order for you to get the same opportunities. Do you feel like you were really liked?
I don't know. I don't know if I was really liked. I mean, they couldn't deny it, bro. They couldn't deny me. So that's why I got my opportunities. If they could deny me, they would have.
Yeah.
And if they could have denied me, they would have.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have never went to that press conference when Roy Jones beat Ruiz and he was sitting up there, the heavyweight champion of the world with the whole media there, and I told Roy, I say, Roy, you ain't even the best fighter in Florida, bro. You sitting up there, the heavyweight champion of the world, and you ain't even the best fighter in Florida. So I kind of had to say those type of things to get him or get the people to say, Roy, you got to shut this guy up.
Okay.
And I think, to believe it or not, I think they forced Roy to fight me. I don't think Roy would have ever fought me with him choosing to fight me, because he knew he ain't crazy. He knew what he was seeing. Mm-hmm. He knew what was coming at him, and he knew the confidence I was bringing. And I had already been in the ring with the man at 13. So if you ain't showing me what you about at 13, and we on the same, and I got out of that fight that the only thing Roy had on me was his daddy, who was training him like a pro, and he had more experience. So when I caught up with experience, in my mind, shit, you know, let's do it.
But you really think Roy Jones, like, in all fairness, is Roy Jones, pound for pound, you know, at the apex of his career, man, ain't nobody faster than Roy Jones.
Man, I'm gonna tell you right now.
But Roy, do you think Roy was running? I mean, I think that's a stretch. Like, come on.
Sway, let me, and you get me to talk about the book and all that, brother.
Okay. he was Roy Jones. He was undefeated. He was going for history, getting belts in different divisions.
Exactly. Listen, Roy Jones came to us. He came out to Colorado Springs when we were the Olympians. He came out there. Bruh, it's like every room I'm in, when I look around, bro, I don't care if Roy Jones 2 steps up, he watching me, bruh. He felt me, man. And you know, I know people, bruh. He felt me. See, people don't understand. Roy was trying to recruit me out of the amateurs. He flew me and Fernando Vargas down. At the table with my homeboy, Fernando Vargas, his manager right there. Roy Jones was on the phone with HBO, Kerry Davis. And I'm an amateur, Sway. They asked me what I signed with Square Ring Promotion back them days. I'm an amateur. I told him, say, well, you know, I told him just like this. Kerry Davis, he can tell you. I say, well, I'm campaigning at light heavyweight. So, you know, Roy's the light heavyweight champion. I think that'll be a conflict of interest if I sign with Square Ring Promotions. So right then, I already had the vision, bruh. It was just a matter of time. You feel me? Already had the vision. Man, look, me and Roy played basketball together, Sway. I whoop Roy in basketball too.
Oh, come on, man.
He can't beat me in basketball.
Roy was winning boxing matches and going and playing in basketball games.
He can't beat me in ball, bro. He can't outball me. Trust me. Ask anybody that know me. I got one of the nastiest left-hand shots in the game, bro. I just couldn't dribble. Sway, I just couldn't dribble, fans. See, none of that. But don't let me get it up now.
Oh, look at that. Oh, man. Hey, man, I'm so happy we having this conversation. We were supposed to do it, well, I wanted to do it a different day. Didn't matter what day, as long as we got it done. But I got the news back that you was training on the initial day that we set up. And I was like, training? What you training for?
Man, you know what, man? you know, when I saw Mike Tyson and Roy Jones in there doing their thing and they talk about just legends too, I'm like, hey, I ain't fought in a minute. And you know what I mean? I think me with the right legend, I think we could do some big business. You feel me?
Hey, where you going, heavyweight? Where you going, heavyweight, light heavyweight?
You know I'm undefeated as a heavyweight, right? You know I'm undefeated as a heavyweight. You know I ain't never lost as a heavyweight or a cruiserweight. So I'm 225 right now. I'm a bona fide heavyweight.
Wow.
Hey, James Toney might come back too, man. That might be something going on today.
But you see, you know, like right now, I'm 1 foot out of the ring. James Toney got about 6 feet. I'm 1 foot out. He about 6 feet out. So, you know, I like two names, man. I like Holyfield. I like Tyson.
Greatest.
Holyfield and Tyson.
I like Tyson for an exhibition type of fight. Exhibition style. And if not them, Logan Paul.
You'll fight Logan Paul.
Logan Paul.
Yeah,
Jake Paul, the one knocked out Nate Robinson. I'm the first one called him out, Sway.
Okay, like that. Fight. The brothers fight, so you would fight Jake Paul. You did call him out, but I didn't know if you were serious.
Serious. You know why? You know why? Because I witnessed a professional boxer knock out a novice. And that fight could have never been sanctioned, bro. Because Nate could have got hurt, seriously hurt. And he did get seriously hurt. He'll probably have effects from those shots lingering on years from now. You understand? And I just didn't think it was fair. I didn't think it was fair, not on a real boxing platform. If Jake Paul gonna fight, he needs to fight professional fighters, not MMA fighters, but professional fighters, because that's the type of skill set that he has. And I'm not saying he's a world beater, but can't no novice mess with this kid. Can't no semi-pro mess with this kid. I'm 52. I'm spotting him 30 years. How many 52-year-old fighters you know trying to compete with 23-year-olds? None.
I'm surprised you see him as a professional, and not a knock on Jake Paul. What he doing, hey man, power to him. He out here, he generating interest in boxing. He bringing some viewership, the whole nine. I was a little skeptical about it at first, but I had enough boxers say, nah, this man is bringing attention to our sport. But you consider him a professional boxer?
He has the skills of a professional boxer. Yes. Okay. He's been trained by a professional team. BJ Flores, who used to be ex-cruiserweight champ. He's been training this kid for about 2 years now, 2-3 years. This kid is getting professional training, and he has the little ability. Now, all I'm saying is at 52, you know, I think we can do an entertainment little exhibition. And just like I told Rocky Balboa, hey, if you respect me, you don't try to hurt me, you don't hit me low, I can carry you, make you look good. But if you try to hurt me, I'm going to get you out of there, bro.
I love that line when you said that.
Hey, Antonio, you know what would be a good fight? Antonio, your son. Your son and Paul would be a good fight. Your son is a professional fighter. You train him. He's been getting professional training from his dad. Won't you put your son up in there and let him see what he could do with that? He's going boxing.
You know what? You know, I wouldn't have a problem with that. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But Junior's 154 pounds. These guys are 190. Okay. These guys cruiserweights.
You just mad what he did to Nate. You want to beat him up for what he did to Nate. That's what it is. You want to get
in that arena. Now, this is the problem. He want to fight McGregor, right? Go to the octagon then. Don't bring that to the boxing arena. Take that to the octagon. MMA. Fight him in the MMA cage. What's the problem? But to come and make a farce out of our sport, but you ain't fighting no professional boxing. Come on, man. It's the only sport you can do that. You can't go to basketball. You can't go to baseball. You ain't going walking on no football field. So why boxing? And the thing that pissed me off a lot is that you got qualified professionals that don't get the opportunity this kid is getting just because, and we live this sport. This ain't no part-time job for us. This ain't no YouTube business. This life and death, these guys laying their life on the line, but they can't get opportunities. 5-time champion, Olympian, can't get opportunities. What's wrong with the sport?
That's a lot like the rap game.
Absolutely. I think
a lot of parallel.
I think money messed up boxing because they're not fighting the best fighters. They're just fighting fighters that, you know, have a good following. They're not fighting the number one contender or the, you know, top 10 contenders. They fighting somebody that have 18 million followers on Twitter. That's who they fight. They're not fighting the number one guy that's supposed to be there, got the belts, that fought, and he's a professional. They fighting a guy that has a fan base that can, you know, these are so-called subscribers that'll pay for the pay-per-view event. So it's more like a business, like you said. If it was, you know, if we had social media back then, imagine what Tarver would have been doing on social media.
Man, it would have been crazy.
It would have been nuts.
Imagine all the shit talking. Imagine all the shit talking to each other behind scenes and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It would have been crazy.
It was great entertainment, man. Entertainment at its finest.
Right. I want to talk about this platform is called BridgeBizness. You know, double entendre. He's from Queensbridge. I'm from the Bay. So we mixed the Queensbridge and Bay Bridge together. But then it's bridging people together through business and having these conversations. And they say hindsight is 20/20. You know, what I see happening now is, so it's a big money grab happening for certain individuals if you could get to it, you know, and a lot of folks who have laid the foundation like yourself aren't able to necessarily benefit from it unless you find some type of lanes. Can't complain no more. Just let me take what I got, utilize it moving forward, and put myself in the position I need to be in. What kind of things have you learned about business along the way from the time since you was in the motels cooking food on a burner to today? And what kind of businesses have you set up?
Man, I learned one thing. You definitely need a solid team, but man, that trust is hard, bro. I just went through just built a team, had to disband it, you know, right after we cut the ribbon. So, you know, it's like people change, man. People change. And I'm one of those cats, I just stay the same. I just stay real. I don't know how any other way to be, but you know, I'm patient and I wait on my blessing, bro. I ain't finna run in nobody's lane. I just stay in my lane. I stay prayed up and I'm always grinding. I'm always looking to build that, but everything ain't gonna connect. But you gotta keep grinding. I think that when your time comes, ain't nothing nobody can do about it. And I'm happy to say that I'm in that mental health lane right now. I'm building a great platform there, working with a guy from Vegas that I think has shown me that he's open and transparent. And any type of business partner that you need, it has to be that way. And, you know, I've learned from a lot of mistakes, Sway. You know, learned from a lot of mistakes. And I think those young guys coming up need a guy like me to be their eyes and ears. So to avoid those pitfalls, you know, that's out there, you know, and we need more guys that have gone through it to be able to reach back and give back. But when you got a guy like me even willing to give back and these guys aren't even seeing it, you know, it's really frustrating because I know I got the experience and I got the knowledge to really help these guys win on their own. Win. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's all about the person in the ring. So your team has to understand that if you don't win, we don't win. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? And I think that honestly, man, you just got to find good people, man, good-hearted people that ain't trying to take what you got or ain't trying to false represent themselves because they working with you. Just doing good business with good people, man. I think that's the key. You know, I got a great training platform. I'm training kids now. I'm enjoying that. I'm really loving that, man. Giving back to these young kids that just eats it up. They like sponges. So, you know, with me, I believe it won't be long before I get that piece of clay and I can develop and create whatever I want. And once again, be in that corner when we upsetting the world and winning a fight that maybe nobody think in the world that we can win. I think you'll see me doing that real soon. And I want to say this, Junior is back in the gym training with a newfound focus. He has my granddaughter, Jordan. So he's working hard, man, and he's going to be fighting, I believe, February 20th. He's going to be fighting. So, and I told him, all you have to do is stick with it and don't get out of shape no more, bro. You know what I mean? Don't be doing that old school stuff by training only when you got to fight. No, you got to stay in shape. And that's the commitment that I want him to do today.
There it
Stay
is.
ready, you ain't got to get ready. Like,
Stay ready, you got to get ready, right?
Right.
Hey, man, before we let you go, man, I know we took up a lot of your time, but I feel like we're going to do a couple chapters of these interviews, bro. You know,
we got to.
Come on, man, we got to. I'm going to give you multiple choice, right? I'm going to name 2 fighters, and you just got to tell me who would you pick?
Oh, my God. Okay, you're going to put me on the spot. Okay.
Of course, you join in, too. Okay.
Right.
If T-Bud Crawford fought Errol Spence Jr., who would win and why?
I think Bud Crawford will win.
Really?
Why?
Yeah.
I think he does more. I think he can do more things in the ring. And what I've seen Errol Spence, I've seen him just fight one way, forward. You know, there's a lot of things that he's doing. I mean, he's doing what he's doing it good. But when you look at Bud Crawford, the man can box. The man can counterpunch. He go right-handed. He goes southpaw. He got power. So, you know, and he has defense. Even though he fights with his heart a little bit too much, he needs to start fighting with this so he don't have to be, you know, trying to show and prove that he's tough. He already know that. But I think Bud Crawford right now today has more weapons in the ring.
I agree.
Crawford. All right, you want to throw one at him, Horace?
If you could have fought somebody back in them times, Winky Wright or Andre Ward, who you think you would have picked if you had to fight either one of the 2 at that time?
Damn.
You know what? Crazy, man. I used to spar Winky Wright. I used to come all the way from Orlando, drive to St. Pete, and spar Winky when he was world champion. I was just an amateur. You see, people don't know that. But I was Winky Wright's main sparring partner when he fought, what southpaw? Bronco McCart, I believe. Some southpaw he was training for. I was his chief sparring partner. So me and Winky, you know, and I have a newfound respect for a jab. Trust me. You feel me? That's one fighter I know that can beat you handily with one hand. That was just that right jab.
Winky
And
Wright.
he taught me so much. He taught me so much about commitment and dedication. I learned so much from Winky, man, starting out. But I think Andre Ward would have been the fight for me. Because, you know, he went on record. You know, everybody know he idolizes Roy Jones, right? A lot of people did. But I ain't seen nobody wanting to get no revenge for Roy. You know, if somebody beat somebody that I idolize, I'm going to be next up. You feel me? But I ain't, you know, Andre Ward could have got it. I mean, he could have got it the latter part of my career. I mean, but I don't understand why they never wanted that fight. I mean, I know why, but, you know, Calzaghe never fought me. Calzaghe came over here and fought Roy after I fought him 3 times. So we know he wasn't trying to fight the best. So, you know, my thing is this, man, them guys knew when they fought me, I wasn't nothing to play with. You can ask the fighters that I fought. Look at my record, see how many fighters I retired. Meaning they was never the same after they faced me. Meaning the last time they fought in the ring was against me. A lot of fighters, bro. And Roy Jones was one of them. Yeah, but see, the reason I was able to knock Roy out was because of the first fight. It wasn't the second. It was the first fight. He took so much punishment. He wasn't the same fighter when he came back for the rematch. I didn't know that, but my goals was already set. You know, what I was going to do, what I planned on doing was already set. But when I look back at it, I say, yeah, Roy Jones may have not been the same fighter from that first fight because Roy Jones took a lot of punches that fight, a lot of combination shots. I hit him often, and I hit him hard to the body, to the head, everywhere. And I just think that night the fight could have been, you know, the fight was taken out of Roy that night. You know, that I personally feel that. Andre Ward could have got it. I think when you look at him, firing with that O and never faced the guy at the time was Adonis Stevenson. But somebody else took care of Adonis Stevenson, and Andre Ward never became undisputed. And I think that was a goal he should have had for his own self. Even though he won the Super 6, he was unbeaten, and he beat a lot of great fighters like, what's the guy name? Damn, losing me right now. The light heavyweight he beat.
Not Kovalev.
He beat
Kovalev, yeah.
Yeah, he fought some great fighters, but I just think that undisputed light heavyweight champion would have put a real nice ring on it. And for some reason, he retired before ever facing Adonis Stevenson, which I feel Adonis Stevenson, he would have beat Adonis Stevenson anyway.
Yeah, I think so too. But I'm going to go on record and say, whenever time somebody mentioned Devin Haney or Andre Ward, being that I'm from Oakland, I can't be having that. Come on, I can't be having that, man. I can't let you just talk about Dre like that, man. Come on, man. We family, dude. Don't if you push it, I'm gonna bring it.
Hey, hold on. But Sway, imagine that fight now at light heavyweight. Imagine
amazing.
Come on, man.
Hey, but
for all the marbles, man.
But check this out. I heard him and Timothy Bradley kind of jesting about coming back and doing one of those legend fights. Andre Ward said he would do it as long as it's before he turned 40. So you might have a chance to match up with an Andre Ward if you call him out.
Man, that'll be, see, why I don't want to, I got to always call folks out. Man, if I call somebody out, it's a whole different scenario. The situation changed, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what's up. Hey, man, man, I really enjoyed this conversation, brother. Man, you're an amazing commentator. You're an amazing orator.
Thank you, brother.
It's incredible. I know you've been through ups and downs throughout your career, and you've been amazing throughout it. You know, where you are today, and listen to this conversation and knowing that you're giving back to kids and you want to help some of these younger boxers and you want to even help some of these more established boxers. I think that's a testament to the type of person you are and your character. And so, man, I hope you get everything. I don't even hope. You're going to get everything you want.
Thank you, Sway.
Yeah, you're going to get everything you want because your energy and your heart is in the right place, man. So congratulations. And then when all these things, the book come, I know you probably we got to do a movie. Me and
You'll be the first one to know, Sway. You
okay,
know.
cool.